Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Haris bin Faiz. This presentation is on the incomparable benefits that consuming animal liver confers on us. In section A, I will discuss only the scientific aspects of this line of investigation. In section B, I will transition to the deen and defer to the hadith. Now let me proceed with section A. The first bullet is that liver is, gram for gram, the most nutritionally dense food in existence. Now, even though we're endeavoring to be scientists in this section, let's also accommodate that for the greater part of human history, the discipline of medicine was not based on the scientific method per se. Instead, it borrowed heavily from traditional sources of knowledge. Thus, let us not overlook anthropological contributions towards the understanding of our subject. And this, in our case, was the following observation. When the archetypical predatory animals, such as lions and wolves, kill their prey, the leader of the pack will claim the liver. Today, scientists have a different criterion. Foods are instead assessed according to their content of vitamins and minerals, and greater weight is conferred within this equation to those nutrients that are essential for the functioning of the human body. Of all items in all classes of food, liver is the best source of vitamin A and vitamin B12. If you don't have pre-existing knowledge of how vitamin A functions in the body, please look it up. Summarily, vitamin A is in fact a broad class of nutrients. It is not fully accurate to say that our bodies need vitamin A. What they need is an end product of vitamin A known as retinol, and retinol is only found in animal foods, in small amounts in milk fat, in higher amounts in cod liver oil, and the highest amounts in animal liver. If your body begins to exhaust its stores of retinol, the first symptom is usually dryness of the skin and the eyes. In frank deficiency, two things are most evident. Night blindness occurs, and you stop producing sufficient mucus. Without mucus, there is no protective layer in your respiratory and gastrointestinal tract. Consequently, every infinitesimal contaminant in whatever you inhale, drink, or eat invades your blood. In other words, you have no resistance to infection left whatsoever. If the deficiency in retinol persists, devastation occurs. For an illustration of this, please see supplement number 6, a historical anecdote on blindness cured by eating liver. Finally, let me establish that there is significant variation in the content of retinol in the liver of different animals. The best source is lamb liver, followed closely by veal. These two each contain at least thrice the amount of retinol as does goat liver. Chicken liver, on the other hand, is only a modestly abundant source. As for vitamin B12, this is another nutrient that only exists in animal foods. Deficiency causes anemia, which is an insufficiency in the blood of red blood cells, RBC, and hemoglobin, HB. In fact, up till about the year 1930, there was an incurable and fatal disease known as pernicious anemia. This disease makes its host incapable of absorbing the vitamin B12 sufficiently. The 1934 Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine was awarded to American researchers who discovered that pernicious anemia could be cured by administering liver juice to the patient. They had found this after initially observing that dogs who had anemia from incurring large losses of their blood volume improved rapidly after being fed raw liver. Why raw liver? There is some nuance to this. Cooked liver hadn't yielded the same results for the researchers. What explains that is something I remain confused about. Regardless, if you know anyone whose CBC, the lab test, has revealed low RBC or low HB, the cure is to eat liver. On that much there is complete consensus. As for the third promised nutrient, anti-fatigue factor, I've decided to skip this. The study that found this or landed on this finding is widely available on the internet. Just please Google Weston A. Price, the liver files. Now I'm going to give some practical guidelines and recommendations as well as some precautions on eating liver. There are these famous accounts of Arctic and Antarctic explorers from the 1910s, of whom one individual died shortly after he ate liver. This is attributed to vitamin A poisoning from ingesting extremely high levels of retinol. And indeed, the retinol content of several animals that inhabit the Arctic, such as polar bears, seals, and huskies, amongst others, are sufficient to produce this toxic effect in a single very large meal. To get anything resembling the same reaction from ruminant animals, that is sheep, cattle, goats, etc., you'd have to eat their liver on a daily basis for months on end at the very least. And there is a reason nobody ever does so, and I will return to that at the end of the section. Second, if you have a migraine, please do not eat liver. If you have a tendency towards migraines, Be very careful with the amount and make absolutely certain you only consume fresh liver. Liver ages very quickly, and aged liver contains large amounts of a chemical that directly causes migraines in susceptible individuals. Third, if you're consuming liver to enhance your retinol stores, make sure to consume it with at least a source of 10 to 15 grams of fat. This corresponds to about 2 to 3 teaspoons of oil. This is because retinol is a fat-soluble nutrient. It needs to be bound to fat for our bodies to assimilate it. Finally, my recommendation for dosing is as follows. A standard serving of liver is about 100 grams. In the beginning, you should eat a serving every day till you notice one day that you're losing your craving for the liver and instead developing a marked preference for other cuts of meat. If you persist with this, you will soon develop a short-term aversion to the liver. My understanding is that this indicates that you've reached the limit of your body's retinol stores. This is where vitamin A toxicity may begin, but it almost never does because the aversion is so pronounced. Healthy people may reach this stage of liver satiety in as little as 7 to 10 days with daily servings. Malnourished people may take as much as 2 to 3 months. And my recommendation is that you approach this as if it's akin to undertaking a course of medication, and you complete the course once you encounter liver satiety. I think it's in the best interest of more or less everyone that they let their bodies experience that at least once, certifying that their liver's retinol stores rather have reached their maximum limit. Then you know that if you have any health concerns, that a retinol insufficiency is almost certainly not to blame. And that's it for section A.